What's up, everybody? How are you? Happy Monday. It is March 13th, and I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Um, I sure did. And this is Bill Talk. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with Dr. Marilyn Corder. We are live on YouTube. And please, if you have any questions for the doctor when she comes in, please feel free and ask her or write them in. We wish all of you a wonderful day and stuff like that. We see the doctor is in the building. Um, Happy Women's Month to everybody. Happy birthday for all those who celebrated birthdays. For all those that are going through things in their lives, we send prayers and positive vibes only. Because for every birthday, there is somebody that's transitioned or things of that magnitude. So we can't forget those who are also grieving for reasons and things of that magnitude. Um, Real Talk is sponsored by Soft Illusions Art Gallery, Daily Arts and Survival Magazine, Ingram Taxes. It's tax season. Still don't forget your taxes, everybody. That's very important. You don't want, Uncle Sam on your tail because he's not to be played with. And of course, Reggie Wells Quality Speakers. I'll mention them earlier, more within the show. And Melba Wilson, her restaurant. Don't forget to support her. Don't also forget to Chocolat. That's a nice restaurant too. Leon Ellis and Harlem Underground got an excellent clothing line. So please check out the clothing line. With that, saying all of that, so glad to have you here with us today. And hey, Stefania, and we're gonna come and we got the doctor in the building. What's up, cuz? How are you? First and foremost, how
What's
you feeling?
up? Can
How
you
you
hear
doing?
me?
I got you. We got you. I got you. Got you good. Got you good. How you feeling?
Oh, I don't know. This daylight saving time got us all tired.
Oh, who you telling? Let me tell you something. They got to do something about this daylight savings because this it's putting too much pressure on a brother. You know what I
I
mean?
tell you,
And,
people
and the
were
world.
late. They didn't know what time it was. The time went by fast. It was crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's light, it's dark. I don't know what is going on out here. You know what I
Right.
mean? I know it's going to stop. Loving God in the building. Great to see the Forster and Dr. Corder. Absolutely. Shout out to everybody chiming in. Marquita, what's up? She says, hello, cousins. What's up, Sharon? Hello, everybody chiming in. It's always good to see everybody in the building. Doc, so what's going on? First and foremost, let me thank you. Salute to to Women's Month, and you are a trailblazer. You're inspiration to so many, especially to the Foster family. It's always great to call you my cousin and to be a woman in your field and doing what you do and the excellence that you bring to your field and always reaching back and helping the community and things of that magnitude. So I wanted to salute you. You need more than just 1 month, but this is the month that we can say that more frequently. How about that?
Yes. Yes.
So
Absolutely. All
so
is
it's
well.
good.
Busy, just trying to keep things together here in the DMV. We
Hmm.
got carjacking, we got robberies, we have
Yeah,
politics. You name it, we have it here.
yeah. You know what's so funny, Doc? I had a show last month, I think it was, or the month before that, or no, well, the Wednesdays. So it was about maybe 2 weeks ago, and we were going to do a follow up segment this Wednesday, and I had proposed a question to the panel and the audience: are we the problem for the way our youth are acting today? We have youth out here just acting lawlessness with so much lawlessness in their heart, so much disrespectful. There's a video going out right now, and happened I think the other day, or it might have been today or something. Videotaped a autistic young man. He must have said something disrespectful to a girl, and they beat him up on the train. You know, but our kids are so violent right now, and they're so spoiled. And I mean, I don't know what you want to talk about. You could, of course, this is your segment. You talk about whatever you want to. But I just want to say, I mean, me personally, children are not raised like we were raised. You know, Barbara Jean wasn't, Doris Jean wasn't playing that. You know what I'm saying? She put some foot to ass if she had to. I mean, we come from a family where, and I mean, just an era where it was be seen and not heard, to be
Right.
spoken to. Kids right now are walking around younger than us with more advanced technology and phones and things of that magnitude and sneakers. Kids is wearing, we might have got hand-me-down, something passed. Try this on. It don't fit. It's too big. Roll it up and cuff it until you grow into it. Especially anybody out there knows what I'm talking about. If you have a sibling, you just listen. Shit, I remember being the only child. My father was like, "Well, here, this is my stuff. I'm Dad. This is a different era. Well, it'll come back in style. Wear it." I was like, "Oh." But I'm just saying, I'm just going to ask you, and like I said, whatever you want to talk about, of course, it's your segment. But do you think? I'm sure there's no quick solution to the youth today, but what do you think is going on with the youth today?
We reward our youth, our children, without them doing anything. We give, and it almost is like not only without them doing anything, when they are disobedient and didn't do what they're supposed to do, we give them things because they expect it. And if we
Right.
end up, if we continue to do that, then we're not going to get any change in the behavior. If we
Yeah.
wait and pull back and say, look, I was going to do this for you, I was going to give this to you, but you acted a fool in school, or you acted a fool, in the public, or you got in trouble, then we're taking it back. Not only I'm not going to give it, but we're going to take it back. And I
Yeah.
think that's where we need to go, because there's no consequences. They're going like, what? I'm not going to get in trouble or whatever. But we really need to stop rewarding bad behavior, because that sends a message, unfortunately, that they can do whatever they want to, however they want to. Of course, we know, as a pediatrician, what I have said to my parents, there's some new laws with Academy of Pediatrics and etc. But you know, it was nothing was really wrong with a good controlled spanking. Okay, when you
Right.
know that child is about to touch something that's hot, or about to run out in the street, or something that's very detrimental to them, you got to do a little pop. You got to have that little spoon, that spatula in your
Mm-hmm.
purse. You got to do a little, a little pinch and say, look, you can't do that. But the same thing when the behavior gets to the point of carjacking, robbing elderly people, stealing. We didn't do enough in the beginning as a youngster. So therefore, it's the teachers, there's a shortage of teachers because they just can't take it. They're so tired of being cursed out. Like my sister was a wonderful school teacher,
Mm-hmm.
but after a while they get burned out. And so
Yeah.
this is something that we as a village have to come back and be the village. And it
Absolutely.
takes a village. Now they're
Right.
gonna
Right.
cuss you out, but still be the village. And when Poo Poo and Peanut and Bebe and all them rob and do, and you know what they did, you can
Yeah.
anonymously talk about, tell someone, but they need to be corrected, because that next criminal, that next victim from that criminal's hands could be you, your loved ones, etc. So we all, I feel, take a responsibility of correcting it. So it's hard. It's very difficult. And I know times are hard. We're talking banks going down, and, you know, it's scary, it's hard, and shortages of things. But we got to band together. This is not the first and won't be the last time that we come out of it. Um, little a few battle scars, but we will come out of this. But we have to
Absolutely.
make sure that we leave behind a positive impression, because if not, it's just going to be chaos, wild, wild west, and what have you.
Absolutely. Deborah Brown said, she said, I'm so loving her. She said she's speaking facts. Exactly. Stefania said, and participation awards. So no one wants to work hard and strive for more. Absolutely. Of course. And Deborah also talks about our friend, my man, Big Rush Barbershop. He has an academy to teach our youngsters the barber business and make sure they get a license. Absolutely. Shout out to my man, Russ. He's definitely doing his thing. So, Doc, is there anything you want to talk about? Any health issues, or you can just flow with whatever you want to talk about. This is your time. Stefania also says they think teachers are babysitters. I could never ever think of disrespecting a teacher. My parents didn't play that crap. Absolutely. You know. Yeah.
It was the teachers and the parents were on the same page. Um, and that was before when I grew up. That was before the cell phones. And if
Right.
you upset, if you bad, you better take a note to the school to the teacher. Some people
Yeah.
forgot the note, and until the parent until the parent is summoned to come up to the school. Now all you have to do
Absolutely.
is take a phone call or email. But some parents are just too busy, and whoever, I'm not sure if it was Stefania's, they asking these teachers to raise their children, and that's just
Hmm.
ridiculous. Um,
Yeah.
and you can't do that, and that's why quite a few people are homeschooling. That COVID virtual learning got some folks saying, "I'm not sending so and so back to school because it was it's not safe. It's not
Yeah.
safe. We have 2 or 3 times a month someone's bringing a gun to school, not to mention
Yeah.
the 6-year old, but it's just sort of I call it like a war zone, be it outside the school, inside the school, it's a war zone. So, yeah, um, that's one thing I wanted to mention. This is now March. The weather is still having its ups and downs. We had some snow yesterday, but last week we had 80 degrees. So that's aggravating your airways in terms of
Yes.
asthma, in terms of seasonal allergies. We are the cherry blossom blooming land down here, and as the cherry blossoms are blooming, people are sneezing and wheezing.
Right.
So we're
Right.
telling folks, look, it may not be a cold if it's been 6 weeks, you don't have a
Right.
fever. That's called
Right.
allergies. That's
Right.
called allergies. When you rubbing your eyes and sniffling your nose and coughing and sneezing,
Hmm.
and you're outside a lot, or even if you're inside, you want to make sure that you don't bring the outside inside. Close your windows. Sometimes I have one of my staff was telling me, oh, she has asthma and allergies, and it was hot, so I opened up the window. And then I woke up worse. My eyes were puffed up like I've been in a fight with Mike Tyson. I said, well, you had the windows open up. You may as well have been outside wandering in the grass all night because
Yeah.
what was outside is now in your airway. So you
Right.
got to understand what that is and how the outside you bringing it in, or as you know, you're not only bringing it in your clothes and your hair, but you're bringing it in when you're opening up those windows. So there's some areas that are real hot spots in terms of allergies. Um, and some people are very sensitive to different trees, um, and birch trees, and the different um, types of trees. And you should know what you're sensitive to and what is in your environment. But we have pollen, we have things that are blooming now. So it's beautiful, but some people are suffering. So I just want to make sure people are aware we are no longer seeing the flu like we saw 2 months ago. And most of all, the RSV has simmered down, the respiratory syncytial virus. But now
Hmm.
we're coming up with the allergies. And, the weather's beautiful, you're outside, but just be aware that the allergies can give you lots of problems, including headaches. um, you could be very fatigued because not just because the weather, the time changed, but you can be fatigued because you can't sleep and you're
Right.
getting restless sleep, not restful sleep. So you're waking up cranky and irritable. So that's
You
one thing I wanted to mention in terms of allergies because it's, summertime, well, springtime and Easter is coming and, activities outside are coming. So just be mindful and be aware. And what may you thought was a cold turns out the seasonal allergies. And we have children who are 2 years old and 3 years old already showing signs of seasonal allergies.
Wow. Shout out to everybody chiming in this Real Talk Chronicles, this Real Talk with Dr. Marilyn Corder. If you have any questions for the doctors, no matter what it is, you got 45 minutes to give her, ask her any questions you can. Just type them in. If you watch it from YouTube, please subscribe to it and share it. Some loving God said adults are not instilling to thank God for everything. Uh, produces abuse of everything. Let me make sure I read that correctly. He says adults not instilling to thank God for everything produces abuse of everything. Samantha, what's up, Samantha? How are you? She says I have HBP and sickle cell anemia at 54. I don't know what HBP is.
High blood pressure.
Okay. Excuse me. I don't know these joggers. I'm trying to make sure I don't have high blood pressure because doctor wanted to talk about my blood pressure was married. I mean, my blood pressure. I was like, wait a minute now. Don't add that to the table. Tell me what to cut out and tell me what to do. You know, um, speaking about allergies. Oh well, so you have the whole sickle cell trait. You have sickle cell anemia. You don't have the trait, right? Okay. Um, Deborah said, Dr. Marilyn, not only loving you, sister, you definitely speaking facts. Shout out. That's right. That's my big cuz. She definitely speaking. Um, what causes? I mean, how many different allergies are there? There's hundreds, thousands of different allergies. Because, like, I mean, dust is. I know dust is. I'm sure once you beat some plant around somebody.
That would take about 4 hours. There's tons of different allergies.
Right.
And there is, we call it environmental allergies, which can be anywhere from mold, dust, outside the trees. I mean, like I said, all the nuts of the trees and the different types of grass. Some people will, you'll hear folks cutting grass or just been outside when the grass was freshly cut and they just can't take it. They're swelling up, they're wheezing, they're sneezing, their eyes are running. So you don't want to be around when the grass just got freshly cut. You don't want to have a career that is outside doing the lawn if you can't tolerate those things that's in the yard. But then you have, and of course, the pollen. And so now it's pollen time and the things are blooming. And you don't have to wait till you see the yellow stuff on the cars, which eventually you will. Before you even see that, you've already been exposed, your airway have been exposed. Now, years ago, and see, this is something that I have a friend that's an allergist, and we talk about different allergies, including food allergies, but different allergies to different things in the environment that you just can't avoid. If you're going to work, you're going to school, you're walking past all types of greenery, you will be getting affected by it if you have those allergies. So what tends to happen, you get tested, and as you get tested, from blood draw, you can get tubes of blood, 2 or 3 tubes of blood, and we do a panel, a basic allergy panel, not just with food, but environment. We also do what we call skin pricks, and the allergist will tell you before you get your skin pricked, you should not take Benadryl, Claritin, Zalzol, Zyrtec for at least 3 days, because if you take it and you next day getting tested with a skin prick, it's not going to show up because the medicine is stopping your reactivity. So you got to suffer for a minute and say, okay, if I'm going to see the allergist on a Friday, as of Monday, no later than Tuesday morning, I can't take those allergy medications. So just be mindful of that. I've had folks who said, well, does it change? I've drawn blood work on, like this last week, it was 4 or 5 that I drew blood work. 2 were repeats. And I knew it wasn't going to change, but 2 were repeats, and they still were allergic to 3 pages worth of stuff. But the parents wanted to know, because what ends up happening, not only just environmental things, but there's some foods that you're allergic to that people eat every day. They don't even know they're allergic to it. And they're like, oh, no, I'm not allergic to that. I ate that yesterday. I said, yeah, you did, but you're allergic to it. Okay. And that means you get upset stomach, indigestion, because your body's rejected it.
Right.
And so you're allergic to it. I can't fathom, I can't get over folks who know they're allergic. Let's say something like lactose intolerant.
Right.
And they can't drink milk. But they take the lactate pill in order to tolerate what they know they don't need to be taking. I'm like, you know what? And no offense, I'm not all that into milk. I don't have a lactose intolerance, but it's not worth it, is it? If you know your body sees that as a toxin, as a poison, especially cow's milk, and you're going to take it anyway, but you're going to take this, you're going to pop this lactate pill so you can have that. That's, to me, it's not just, you think you're fooling your body, but you're not. Your body is still having inflammation and a rejection to that. So down the road, if you continue to do that, the inflammation that it is causing will end up having you have something called IBS, which is here's another initial, because
go ahead.
IBS is inflammatory bowel syndrome. You see commercials when they say bloating, tummy ache. One minute you're in the bathroom with loose stools, the next minute you can't stool. But that's because your gut is confused, because you done given it stuff that it's not supposed to have. So just be
mm.
mindful. You can trick yourself. You're thinking you're tricking your body, but you're not. The trick is back on you.
Now, let me ask you a question. Since you mentioned bowels, is there a certain thing where people say you're supposed to have like a bowel movement a day, two, one, or none, or 3 days, every 3 days? Because I met people be like, I haven't had a bowel movement in a week. I was like, what's wrong with you? You know what I
Let
mean?
me
Like,
now you're talking. You're right. You're coming up on the, I call it the conversation that pediatricians have from day one when we talk to even the parents of an infant.
right.
First thing we're going to ask not only what they're eating, but what their elimination, what their stools are like. And when you're a baby, that's 5 a day or so, and then it slows down. It slows down, but it should always be 1 to 2 times a day. I
Okay.
get most folks telling me, well, how often do you oh, normal. I'm regular. And I'm like, I'm not asking you your opinion. I'm asking you how often. I'm real
Yeah.
basic. Then they say, just twice a week. Isn't that what everybody is? I'm like, nope, 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 nope.
No,
Unless
no.
you're eating twice a week. I think
Right,
you're eating
right,
more than twice a week. So if
right.
I have this term of how often do you take out your own trash in terms of how
Mm,
you eliminate, how
yes,
you poop it. And that's
yes.
important because the longer your waste stays in you and not out, the harder your digestion has to work, and therefore is overwhelming it. So there's something wrong. Either you're eating the wrong foods that's constipating you, calling slow bowel, um, or something's going on with your gut in terms of your metabolism. You may need to take probiotics. Of course, drinking plenty of water. Stop the foods, the fake foods that's just like cardboard by the time they digest or trying to digest. But you got to go online. I tell folks, I don't believe in laxatives. I believe in foods that are high fiber. And once you begin to do that along with your water, and the high fiber foods are fruits and vegetables, and 90% of the time. And even there's something over the counter called Colace and Colace or Muralax. Those are not laxatives, those are stool softeners. And people have to be on that for a while to retrain their gut. Because the longer they take to poop, the larger the colon becomes because it's holding it. So if you think of a small bag that you put your little trash in and empty it, then it gets bigger. After a while, you got them hefty bags that
Right,
has to
right.
accommodate all that waste. Well, that's what's happening in your colon. And
Mm-hmm.
I've had folks come in the office and they pooping. I may have, we give them something, etc., and they'll stop up your toilet.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's
yeah,
something wrong with that picture.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
tell everybody, constipation or slow stools can run in families. I get that, but that means some of it is because of the family's eating bad, or even if that's the case, change that habit and make sure they're eating foods that are easier to digest. Cheese is hard to digest. Red meat is hard to digest. That'll stay in your gut for months.
Right.
Lots of bready foods are hard to digest.
Mm,
Pastas, not to mention those noodles, oodle noodles. That
mm,
those
mm.
things are hard to digest. Peanut butter, I know peanuts are good, and peanut butter that's hard to digest. So always understand, and this is why I like doing pediatrics versus grown-ups, because the parents in the daycare will tell you what the child has, but grown-ups don't want you to know what they ate. Maybe they
Right,
just don't remember. Or they
right,
say,
right,
I eat balance. No, you don't.
right,
Mm-mm.
right. Mm. Wow, everybody, this is Real Talk, and that's Dr. Marilyn Court. This is Real Talk with the doctor. She's giving you, dropping knowledge. Samantha, she dropping some jewels. She's like, yeah, fiber and protein and hybrid. Yep, get your finger and the Vaseline. And then she says, yep, about beef and processed foods. She mentioned probiotics, the same thing that you mentioned. She also says mac and cheese have sodium. Yep. She also says chocolate and tea. Sharon asks a question. She says, yes, my allergies are starting to already flare up. She says, I also read to keep the windows closed. She said, are there any natural remedies you suggest?
Bee pollen is good. Um, Neti pot is good. You know, I still like the old fashioned eucalyptus and the cool mist humidifier. When you come in the door, and I didn't really know this until years after med school. If you allergy time, take your shoes off at the door. Not just because you don't want to get your carpet dirty, it's because you're bringing what's outside and what you've been stepping on, you're bringing it into your house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You also want to make sure that as we're outside, and let's say you're out for a while and things get deposited on your hair, we're not gonna wash our hair every day. Come on now.
Right. Right.
Especially as black women, we're not gonna do that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
what you can do is put your bonnet on, okay, before you lay down on your pillow. Otherwise, you're laying down on your pillowcase, and all what's outside is now on your pillow, and you're changing, you one side, you change, like you're laying down and you change to the left, change to the right. So whatever was on your hair is now in your eyes, and you wake up with puffy eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a tidbit. Follow this. This is the time you get your satin bonnet, okay, and you put on your head before you lay down on the pillow. And if so,
Mm-hmm.
for chance or by chance the satin bonnet comes off, the next day you flip the pillowcase. So let's say date Monday, side A, pillowcase. Flip it to side B Tuesday. New
Mm-hmm.
pillowcase on Wednesday. Makes a
Right.
big difference.
Right.
Makes a
Right.
big.
Right.
I was just on HUR last week Monday,
Right.
and we were talking about allergies, and I said, if ever there's a time that um, putting your hair, wrapping your hair, and even with the guys who have hair, okay, having a do rag, making sure that they're wrapping that hair, that they're not all over the place with the pollen, etc.
Right.
But the shoes, taking your shoes off is important. So some of the natural things, um, like I said, the bee pollen. I don't like a lot of medications, but sometimes you have to. But things that are less, I'll just say that doesn't make you sleepy. Benadryl, we hear about that, but that makes you sleepy. So don't try to drive or send your child to school after either you've ingested Benadryl or they have Benadryl in their system. But as much as you can. So the neti pot again, the saline, nasal spray, and um, and avoiding as much as you can those those items. And if you have pets, they've been outside too. They rolling in the grass. So when they come in, don't let them jump up on your bed,
Yeah.
and bring
Right.
everything that they've been all in to you.
Right. Right. Everybody, real talk. Subscribe to it or share it. You can always go back to YouTube and watch it. Definitely. Um, Loving Stefania asked us a question, and Loving God has a question. Stefania says, Dr. C, have you ever heard of, I guess I'm pronouncing it right, Sonny's dietary supplements? SONNES?
I believe so. And many companies will have what we call anti-inflammatory or what we call allergy reducing properties. That can reduce the allergies. And I don't know if you're aware, but if you introduce the same thing that you're sensitive to on a smaller scale, it desensitizes you. That's the way allergy shots are, come into play. What allergy shots are is actually giving you what you're sensitive to. When they find out all the things you're sensitive to, then they start giving you that dosage and that item in small aliquots, in small amounts. So you go and they give you a little bit, and your body's desensitizing. A week later, a little bit, and then you get to the point it goes up a little, then they maintain for a while till you run out of that vial. So you may have 8 different vials for the whole season that you go in to get allergy shots. Allergy shots are desensitizing you to something that you're allergic to. So it
Mm,
may not make sense, but now we even know with peanut butter, instead of running away from it, what we tell the parents to do by the time the child's 6 months old is to introduce a little peanut butter. Put it on their skin first. Wait for a few minutes. If it doesn't flare up, then you put a little bit in a controlled environment. In other words, sometimes parents will bring the baby with the peanut butter in my office and say, okay, let's see what this is going to react, how it's going to react, which is
right.
fine. I tell them that's fine, but it's giving them a little peanut butter each time to desensitize them. So
Wow. Um, Loving God, it's always great to see you. He says, Dr. Corder, what should we do to strengthen our kidneys?
I'm gonna tell you what you should not take, and then I'm gonna tell you what you should do.
Okay.
Okay. And I always say this, and I want each time I say it that you tell and share with 10 people. There's a common medication that everybody takes or have taken in their life that kills our kidneys. That medication, and my cousin, Malika will tell you that
Yeah.
medication is ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. So
Exactly.
some people say, "Well, I don't take that." Well, guess what ibuprofen, one of the brand names for ibuprofen is? Advil, Motrin, Aleve,
Mm,
all right? CVS brand ibuprofen. So with
absolutely.
that, what you want to do is stay away from those. They're over the counter, so you figure they're fine. No, they're not. There are other things that you want to make sure you do also. If you have high blood pressure, you want to make sure your blood pressure is controlled. The longer your blood pressure is high, the more damage it does to your kidneys. There is something that used to be called it Atkins diet, but there's some diets that are heavy in protein.
Right.
And the
I
heavy in protein helps you lose weight, but it overwhelms your kidneys. So your kidneys will begin to spill protein. The big word for that is called proteinuria. And that damages the kidneys, overwhelms them. When I say them, your kidneys, you're born with two kidneys,
right. Right.
most likely. Okay, so those are the things that you don't want to do a lot of. Now, what can strengthen it? Drinking plenty of water, not a lot of salt, lots of fruit, vitamin C. We have this thing when you think about, we hear people say, well, what about when I have a bladder infection? Or if you think you have a bladder infection, we'll tell you take some orange juice, drink some orange juice, or cranberry juice.
Mm-hmm.
Because what cranberry juice does, it the pH of the cranberry juice helps strengthen the nephrons, the kidney cells. So that helps. So flushing it, making sure it's not overwhelmed by protein or hypertension, making sure it's not introduced toxins all day long, such as over the counter. There are prescriptions. The other thing, when you have medications given to you by your doctor for whatever that reason is, do take it, but understand the side effects and make sure that if all of a sudden you can't pee, you can't urinate, and you're swelling up, something's not right. Something's not right. So I hope I answered a few, or shared a few points on that
Yeah.
question.
Let me definitely, and I have some more questions, comments. And so, can a doctor prescribe, and I'm speaking firsthand, subscribe high blood high blood pressure medicine to do something to help you with your kidneys?
Well, if they're controlling your blood pressure, they're assisting in your kidney function, if that makes any sense. So if you have hypertension down the road, people will say, well, how did they become a dialysis when they're on a machine? Well, after a while with hypertension, your kidney function gets weaker and weaker. So trying to keep your blood pressure controlled, if you think of a loop, the heart, the lungs, the heart, the veins and arteries, and it loops through the kidneys and comes back around and comes back around, like a roller coaster, comes back around. Well, if one area is weak, it puts pressure on the other area. So that's why we want the blood pressure to be controlled. And what also, there are conditions such as autoimmune, the illnesses such as autoimmune conditions like lupus, um,
Mm-hmm.
and what we call SLE, sarcoidosis. A lot of the autoimmune conditions, if they're not in control, can cause problems with the kidneys.
Wow. Okay. Um, Shout out to everybody watching. Subscribe to it. I see Samantha. Samantha said, "Remember when we had to change our street clothes from our play clothes when we were young? We thought grandma was crazy. Nah, she wasn't. Back in the days, things that people made you do: take off this clothes, take
Makes
off
sense.
that."
That's right.
Cousin Kendra said, "She said, great discussion. Any reason why we are seeing so many food allergies among children these days? Because she has a baby."
That was one of the questions. We were at a conference. Um, you know what I think, Kendra? I think that we have so much mixtures of foods now. We used to have basic stuff. I call it the ABCs of food. Now everything is mixed up in it. And because that, plus our system is so full of toxins and inflammation, then our kids have food allergies. Now, food allergies come up in different formats. It can become a tummy ache, also rashes. And I have a big poster in my office that says food allergies can present like, and it's a whole lot of different things. Okay, crankiness, irritability, inability to sleep, of course, vomiting, GI tract problems. But why do we have so many different new foods, and everything is all mixed up, and we don't know what you're sensitive to and what the spices are. So even now with the peanut allergies, there's there are big signs in daycares will say peanut, free zone, because we know if a child has a severe peanut allergy and their neighbor brought in peanut butter, sandwich, and it touches that child can have an anaphylactic of severe reaction if the child has not had treatment for their peanut allergy. So what we're seeing, and I've been a pediatrician now for 44 years, we're seeing a lot of food allergies because we have so many variety of foods, and sometimes we didn't know it was food allergy, one thing, and we can test better as well.
Right, right. So Stefania says something about Tylenol. She said, I thought it was Tylenol. I guess it was regards to the medicines or the aspirins, the stuff that you were talking about taking. She thought
So
Tylenol.
Tylenol affects your liver. Okay, so you don't want a whole lot of Tylenol either, and that's why even young girls who are on birth control pills, that's metabolized in the liver, we tell them, certain things you can't take a lot of, and that's Tylenol. But Motrin, Advil, the ibuprofen, Advil, Aleve, naproxen, those affect your kidneys. So that means you don't need a whole lot. And I'm telling folks now, if you're taking medicine for pain, be it for headache or for pain, get it checked out so you won't need the medicine for whatever you're taking it long time.
Mm. Samantha says, also stop taking OTC. I know that from taking protein shakes.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Ro-
yes.
Rochelle said, wonderful knowledge. Samantha also, she says, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure at 37, and it still takes time for medication time to adjust to breastfeeding, strengthens the immune system. I guess I did. Yeah, that's what she wrote. So I guess, I mean,
And she's right. It
mhm.
helps digestion. Breast milk helps digestion, helps the lining, and that's why now we even say, and I guess this gets back to what Kendra was asking. We even say years ago when we were babies were 2 months and 3 months, they were introduced food. Now we wait till they're 6 months. So it's either straight formula or straight breast milk until 6 months of age.
Mm. Samantha also says shingles is stress related and is contagious because it's the chickenpox virus.
So so for those of us who didn't get the vaccine, in other words, for those of us a little old who got chicken pox, the
Mm-hmm.
chicken pox is in our system dormant, meaning it's sitting there. And as you get 40, well, 55 plus years old, it's recommended to get the vaccine against shingles because you can get shingles. In other words, chicken pox can raise this dirty head in terms of it could be sitting there, next thing you know, so you have shingles. Now,
Right.
what they're saying is that that's within you, meaning it begins to erupt and it's through the dermatome. You don't have the chicken pox full blown. You have it most of the time. You'll see it when I say dermatome in a line on your side or so, and it's very very painful. So the vaccine against chicken pox against shingles is what they recommend. Now, it being contagious because this is something that's dormant in you. That's not what we see. That's not the chicken pox that's contagious. The chickenpox that's contagious is when you don't, like as a child and and you had chickenpox itself. That's when that contagious component time span is. Now we have vaccines now called varicella vaccination that we give at 12 months and we give at 4 years old to prevent not only getting chickenpox but to prevent future shingles.
Mm. Wow. Loving God says, Dr. Corder, do you have any advice on strengthening your gums and teeth life?
On what?
On strengthening your gums and teeth, I guess life.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah.
olive oil. Olive oil, natural olive oil will strengthen and cuts down on gingivitis. Some people will swish out or just kind of have a soft toothbrush and do throughout that virgin olive oil. Now you don't have to
Really?
use a whole lot of baking soda, but a little baking soda. Of course, frequent brushing your teeth, seeing a dentist, of course. Vitamin C, vitamin D is also helpful.
Mm. Wow. Everybody, you're getting it firsthand from the doctor. Share
And
it
let me tell you
to
two more things. Bone broth soup.
bone.
Bone broth soup. There's a place where everybody has their favorite bone broth site. But in New York, there was a restaurant. And I forget. I don't know if it was in Harlem. But it's one of the best bone broth site restaurants on the East Coast. And
Mm.
bone broth increases everything from your connective tissue, your bones, um, your skeletal structure, your strength, collagen, your face. So bone broth, I mean, it's not your chicken noodle soup that you might be used to, but it has lots of value. Bone broth soup, and depending on who makes it and how it's made, it's it can be very tasty. There's a place in D.C. on Kennedy Street called Soup Up.
Mm-hmm.
Sixth and Kennedy or Seventh and Kennedy. Kendra, you should check it out. And they have it's called Soup Up on Kennedy, and they're not open today. Mondays they close, but they have nice soups. And one of the soups they have soups for vegan, etc. But one of the soups I tried this past Sunday was their bone broth, and they do a good job. It's a black-owned company.
Wow. Rochelle said bone broth helped her my parents until they were 92. Wow.
There you go.
I didn't. Who
Ding.
knew? Malika, let's get some bone broth soup. No, let's not.
Right. And you can make your own bone broth. I mean, get your bones instead of throwing it away or having a dog choke on it. Get your bones and and somebody said put it in a slow cooker. Um, Spice it however way you want to. You know, put your little herbs and your little water, etc. But bone broth soup. So get your recipes for bone broth soup. One day we'll have a show on which bone broth and you know how's the bone broth soup recipes coming along.
So bone broth is it's I guess what it could be any kind of bone from chicken, steak, whatever. Or I mean,
Well, you can this late like Sunday she had beef. She had beef, which is bones of beef broth soup. I don't do the red meat, but I did the bone broth of the bone of the beef. It was good. Years ago, I know one or two of my aunts, but I know Fred's relatives who are truly from the south. They when you ever have somebody eating the bone, the marrow of the bone,
yeah. I remember that.
they're smarter than we are. And you kind of, as a child, you look at them like, what's she doing? She that
Yeah.
hungry? Well, what she doing is better than what you just had on your plate, chewing that
Yeah,
marrow.
yeah,
I call it like a bone marrow transplant.
yeah. It was so funny because I never forget. The first time I ever saw that it was from a West Indian man, and he was just crunching the bone and breaking it and eating the marrow out, sucking the marrow. I
That's
was like,
right.
oh, whoa,
That's like
okay.
a shot of iron.
Mm,
Yep.
wow.
So we
Yeah,
throw away some of the best part of our food, the most nutritional. Same thing when you a whole pot of greens. People talk about pot liquor. Okay,
yeah.
they're
I
not
remember
talking
that.
alcohol. They talk about pot liquor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yep.
don't throw that away. Don't take that down the sink.
No, that's
Do
from
your
that collard
glass.
greens. From that collard greens, I remember that. I still had some of that
Oh, I
yesterday.
love it. I
I
love
love
it.
it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Malika said, Malika, she chimed in talking about, I'll make it BF. Yeah, okay. So let me ask you a question. For a person that is, they don't eat meat, is the broth, uh, is it harmful to them?
Well,
Like a beef?
well. I tell you what, it's to me. They may not want the remnants of what was the meat was, but
Right,
it's not chewing meat, you
right,
know.
right, right. I
So,
got you.
but
I got you.
they could do the bone from the chicken, and they could
Right.
do bone broth from the chicken or
Sharon,
lamb. Uh,
Sharon said, it's very helpful. I started drinking bone broth soup. Wow. She says, I'll try the olive oil. That's very helpful. Also, Rochelle said my great grandmother butcher shop sold the bones, and I couldn't believe that. And the Samantha said, "Yep, suck it right out the bone." Absolutely. Sharon also said,
right,
"My mother,
sucking that out the bone. I'm
yeah,
telling you guys, you talk about collagen, you talk about all this expensive stuff people have that they make and put on your face, etc. Bone broth, doing that, biting the bone down. That's why many people, their relatives may look maybe 100 years old, but they look like they're 60 or 70 because they ate better, and they don't. And it wasn't like expensive. It was basic.
Mm. So, I'm going to be throw a little humor in this. I'm having a brunch party this week. So when I see a bunch of you eating the marrow out of them bones or whatever you're doing, I'll know that you was listening to Real Talk Chronicles
That's
this
right.
week. So
That's right.
Sharon said, "My mother eats bones down just like that." She said, I thought it was crazy too. Who knew?" Exactly. Yeah. Because like I said, I told the dude, and naive sometimes, being trying to be funny. Who knew? He was telling me, he was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "This is
Right.
good for you." I was like, "Yo, come on, man.
Right.
I'll buy you another piece of chicken. You don't have to do all
Don't be
that.
that hungry. I said, I'll buy you another piece of chicken.
I'll buy you another piece of chicken. You ain't got to eat the bone. Relax yourself." Um, Doctor, how much water is how much should an average person? How much water should an average you drink a day?
Much more than what we do. And I say that, but I know I
Right,
don't drink enough water. So you
right,
should do, we say 8 glasses, 64 ounces. But if you're close to that, even if you do 40 ounces, but you got to drink your water. And we often don't. We don't want to keep running to the bathroom,
yeah.
you know, but we
Okay,
need to
very
flush our
key.
kidneys.
Yeah,
We need to
exactly.
flush our
Yes.
kidneys.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Uh, so like water is a kind of a preventive way to help with the kidneys, right? To flush them out and
Yeah.
things like
So
that.
70% of our bodies should be water, but often it's not. So we're very dry. And many illnesses and trips to the emergency room is due to in 50% in part of dehydration. And dehydration can cause a lot from fatigue, dizziness. Um, it can aggravate your whole system. It can cause you to have abdominal pain. It can cause you to feel like like I said, faint. Um, your blood pressure medicine may not work as well, or you may have blood pressure problems because you're so dry. It's taking the heart harder to, you know, harder to flush through because of your fluid loss or not having enough fluids.
Right, right. Stefania said, "I aim for a gallon. Some days are better than others." Rochelle said, "My good friend told me last night that alkaline water helps her heal cancer cells." Any
You
thoughts on
know,
that? Yeah.
the pH of the water is beneficial, but even if it's just regular water, it's still good. But
Mhm.
there is some benefit to alkaline, um, because what it does, it begins to help strengthen the actual electrolytes and balance your equilibrium in terms of your body's balance, and alkaline helps that. So I say that to all to say fluid water is good and alkaline water is easier to digest and easier to get into the cells.
Because right now, I think they have so many different types of waters, right?
I
I mean,
know.
like Smart Water
Smart
has
water, I know.
yeah. I mean, I ain't promoting it, but I drink it. You know what I mean? I guess because you hear people talking about, and it's so funny. We come a long way. You, it's so funny now, and I get it. I'm sure I'm one of them too. Somebody be like, "I don't drink no faucet water." You don't know where that's from. I remember when we was playing as kids, running out at the fire hydrant. Everybody was lapping up that water like they was Lassie. Now you can't get a person to drink a fire hydrant water or faucet water. Who knew? Times have changed considerably from what we were deemed healthy and not healthy. Um, Doc, we have some minutes left. Can you talk about stress? What can stress do? The the avenue stress. It seemed like stress can touch the heart. It can touch the blood pressure. It can touch strokes or something. Can you talk about stress?
In
That's
10
open.
minutes,
No,
cuz in 10
well,
minutes.
you can talk. Well, you can talk about anything you want to, but I mean, I just know, like,
Okay. I'm gonna go back to the water for a minute.
go ahead, please.
So I drink well water because I live on a farm. That's one of the
Right.
best water
Yes. Yes.
with all of the minerals.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Ain't
you
that
can tell
something?
the difference of your water as you're drinking your water. So
You can taste the difference too. Correct.
that's right. You can take the
Mhm.
difference. You can taste the difference. And you don't want to drink water too cold.
Right. Tell
Room
them why.
temperature is fine.
Room temperature is
So
better.
here in my office, I offer water to all the parents and the patients if they be trying to get urine. Have most of them are dehydrated, and I tell them I'm gonna give you some water. and it's gonna be room temperature. So don't be looking at me funny. Oh, okay. And they like it. I make them drink it. I said, don't be
Tell them,
wasting my water up in here.
tell them,
Okay.
don't eyeball me in here, right?
That's
Exactly.
right. So they have the, we give them the bottled water. We have the bottled water here. We don't do the DC water out the faucet. We don't do that.
Yeah.
Um, but stress. So you want to talk about stress? Well,
No, we don't have to
this
talk about stress.
hour.
I wanted to ask you, could you elaborate on, I want to read some comments real quick. Want you to elaborate, why is room temperature better than cold?
Because it takes your body extra work to change your cold water into room temperature, and your body's already room temperature. So why give your body extra work to do that and stress it more? So you want to hydrate, like that IV that you get at the hospital. That's not coming out the refrigerator. That's coming out the
Right,
closet, room temperature,
right,
and
right,
they
right,
hanging
right.
it. Okay, so that's not coming out the refrigerator. So your body doesn't need cold water. And
Mm.
if you crave an ice and you have to chew ice, that means you're anemic. It's called pica, PICA. We talked about that before. So a lot of people, they crave an ice. They got to crunch on ice, no matter day or night, no matter when it's warm outside or not warm outside. Hey, they need to check their serum iron, their level, to find out why they're craving ice.
Samantha said, I buy G2. It's lower in sugar, and I exercise and probiotic water and acid. I don't know what the hell that acidophilus or something like that. I guess that's what it is. I don't know what she's saying.
Acidophilus?
There you go. I'll take a word and tear it up. Especially a medical word, I tear it up. There you go. Thank you for helping me out, because I was the worst thing that I feel like I was on Sesame Street and you should see me in my mind. I'm trying to read it. I'm trying to pronounce it. I'm mixing up vowels and consonants. Oh
It's
my God.
okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Listen, it's
So
okay
some
to
of
be
those
small,
things
but
are
not that small.
probiotics, and some of them, we need bacteria, and probiotics helps our bodies fight the germs. So we have good bacteria and bad bacteria. So we want all the good bacteria. But Bill, you remind me of my granddaughter, how she breaks down words.
Listen. I used to watch Sesame Street. Listen, Electric Company. Because listen, I'm trying to break it down. Listen,
It's okay. I said,
yo,
I said,
listen.
what are they trying to say? Okay, sounds like
Listen,
okay.
I'm used to at a time, place, and occurrence, a victim was shot or something. You know what I mean? I
Right,
got to using these doctor words
right.
exactly. Um,
No,
um,
you're
Rochelle,
good.
Rochelle said, my mom boiled flaxseed and made us drink that water from it. Uh,
Oh, flaxseed, yes,
okay,
absolutely. And
really?
aloe vera. I'm telling you, look, what our grandparents, mom's grandparents, great grandparents got from the backyard is better than some of the things you're paying a lot of money at the vitamin shop and the GNC. And we're going backwards. We're going back. And look, I'm gonna tell you something real quick tidbit. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you all remember or have heard one of the natural treatments for a fever. Years ago was an alcohol bath, but we don't do that as much anymore. Well, we don't do it because it could take your glucose all the way down. So that's not what we do. But
Okay,
guess what we can do for fever?
what's that?
Grandparents, great grandparents, y'all know, cutting up some onions and putting it in your sock.
Oh, I can't even stand onions, so that ain't gonna work for
Look,
me.
look, look, look.
I'm
It
gonna
pulls
have to
out the
hold that
fever.
fever.
And look, anybody, it pulls out your feet, the fever. Onions in the sock. The other day, I had a set of parents come in with a grandmother, and I was about to do vaccine. And so they said, well, we ready for the vaccine. Baby was 2 months old. We already got the onions. We about to put the socks on and put the onions. I said, okay, well, other than having stinky feet, the baby will be okay. And you can watch the temperature also, because you may want to have a little Tylenol just in case. But pulling
Sometimes
that,
them old remedies work, right? Cause
they work, they work, they work. So I just wanted
um,
to give you a little joke on that onions in the sock.
yeah, loving God said, I just want to say thank you, Dr. Corder. Absolutely. Stefania says, Dr. C, what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting?
It's funny that works the 12-hour fasting, but you have to make sure that you're still checking on your metabolism as well as that you checking on your gut health. So
Hmm.
mushroom root, there's certain things about your gut, and you can wake up in the morning. This is something that you might want to start doing now. For lemon, little ginger in water, warm water, starting your day like that, and that helps your digestion and it helps get your, I call it peristalsis, in terms of activity in your gut going.
And she also said, especially for fat loss primarily. Okay. I
Yeah.
know. Yeah. Kendra, you know I'm a hot mess. At least I can keep the family laughing. That's what we do, right? She's talking about probably when I was pronouncing that word. Tracy, what's up, Tracy? She said thoughts on zero sugar vitamin water. She said, what's your thoughts on sugar zero
That's
vitamin
okay.
water?
No sugar. Vitamin water is fine. Just watch the sugar. So the no sugar vitamin water is fine because you got your water. Plus, it has
No
added
sugar.
benefit with the vitamins.
Right. Rochelle said also lemongrass.
Yes, lemongrass is good. Yes. So you
Hmm.
guys, your folks, your village is very educational.
I see. I'm
They
impressed with them.
know.
Yeah. Tracy said, do you recommend probiotics? Probiotics?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Y'all girls are getting these conversations. Oh, your cousin Malika got a lot of jokes. She says, Bill, I'll put onions in your socks if you ever have a fever again. Thanks, doctor.
That's right. That's right. That's
Hey,
right.
hey, let me ask you a question. We was having a call. Speaking of, so she talked about putting Vicks on the chest, Vicks on the nose, and Vicks on your feet and in the socks.
Right.
You,
That's
you
right.
heard it?
Vicks rub. That opens up your airway, and so it pulls, it extracts it. All of those have shown benefit.
we we got into an argument. She said, "Yo, put the Vicks on your feet and put your socks on." I said, "I don't feel like having no hot ass feet tonight." Like, I mean, you know, stubbornness running this family. So I
So
think you can
so
relate.
so the that opens up your pores, so that's supposed to extract some of the heat out.
Okay, all right, I'll do it next time. You know, Kendra said, "Go live when you do Malik." Oh yeah. Oh, Malika, Kendra said, "Go live when you do it." Yeah, that's going to be a show. Yeah, exactly. Trust me, that's going to be the show. The Fosters. It'll be a hot mess. Trust me. Oh my goodness. Samantha said turmeric for inflammation.
Turmeric is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Turmeric, that was the other thing. Put a little turmeric, ginger, and lemon. Turmeric is excellent. You can cook with turmeric. Turmeric is very good. It's anti-inflammatory. It helps your gut, etc. Yes.
Right. Oh, Rochelle said, I'm 70. She said, no medicines. I hear that. Malika also said, we start our day with lemon, fresh ginger, and warm water, special tea. Yeah, that's her concoction. She's down there in the kitchen. You know, I'm thinking I'm getting some orange juice. I'll get some special tea. Thanks,
That's
honey.
right.
Love you. Rochelle said, hey, Malika, please tape it. Yeah, they all definitely. Oh, Malika, you got people wanting to tape you, get me healthy. Doc, okay, so Doc, we got about 2 minutes. Any positive affirmation, anything you want to say, you want to close out? First and foremost, everybody, that's Dr. Corda. I'll let her tell you where you can catch her, but you definitely can catch her once a month here. She had me on my heels today. I was like, I'm texting her, I'm going to get you on a Sunday. I was like, oh, she must have been busy today. I couldn't catch everybody. I had to send an emoji like, yo, what's up? Where you?
I know, but and it's funny. These weeks go by fast.
Right.
And I was going to do something else, and I told Fred, I said, "Oh, I think I'm doing
Yeah,
this
real talk.
Monday," and then
Yeah.
that was like the other day. So then it turns out you said this is your Monday. I'm like, oh, okay. So see, I stayed at the office. I said,
Well,
let
trust
me
me,
not be in the
I'm always catch you the Sunday or the Saturday before, just so you can
right,
put it on your calendar. Or you might have
right.
to turn me on to your secretary so I can keep her on your six. So you'll be like, yeah,
No,
they keep my cousin popping. So any positive affirmation, anything you want to say?
yeah,
Also let them know where they can hear from you and where they can see you besides here.
right.
Catch her every
So
second
so
Monday of the month here. Okay.
okay, so right. So right now, what I want everyone to do is just be patient, breathe, drink your water, whatever the problem you're having, that too will pass. We have too many people stressing in a big hurry and dying, and watch your environment and just try to be safe. Sometimes
Yeah.
an ounce of caution, a pound of caution is I can an ounce of precaution is worth a pound of cure, and that worth a pound of cure can save your life.
All right, we have one more question that you could, I guess, Doris says, what's good for a high LDL? Natural remedies only.
Okay. Yes. So we just talked about it. Turmeric brings down your LDL. So does
Mhm.
lemongrass. So does ginger. And you want always to drink your water and eat lots of fruits and vegetables, rich fruits and vegetables. Get a thing of spinach, raw or well cooked. But you want spinach. You want make sure that 2 or 3 times a week your dinner is nothing but a colorful plate. When I say a colorful plate, we're talking radish. We're talking um, different. I want to say kale, of course, but you want carrots. You want beets. Beets are excellent. Beets are very good for low iron, but also is good bringing down your LDL. So the LDL is part of your cholesterol that I call it the bad cholesterol. LDL. The HDL is what we call your heart saving levels. Years ago, we used to say it's cholesterol, whatever the total number. Not so. It's not that important. It's what that cholesterol is made up of, LDL and HDL. So you want
Mm,
your low density lipids to be low, all right,
mm.
and your high density. So
Doris
I
said
hope that was helpful.
perfecto.
Say
She
again.
said, Doris said perfecto. She said, thank you. Yeah, definitely. Samantha said dark leafy vegetables too.
Yes, yes, yes. Leafy vegetables, absolutely.
Wheatgrass. Rochelle says carrot, squash, and eggplant. She says, thank you, Dr.
Mhm.
Corder. Shout out to Allison Williams. She's in the building. Allison is performing. We'll definitely mention that. She's performing on the 30th in Philly. I don't know if you and
Hey,
Fred want to ride.
Allison,
Yeah. You might, I don't know if you and Fred want to ride up and catch her. She's doing 2 shows, a 7 o'clock and a 9:30.
send me some reminders.
I'll send you the information. Definitely. So Doc, Allison, such great info. Doc, thank you. I always appreciate you. You know I love you, cuz definitely uh next next month, happy Women's Month. Salute to all the women, all you putting your thing out there, doing all the positive stuff. Salute, Doc, definitely. And we will see y'all next month. Allison, big hug. She said, love you, Doc. Everybody,
Love you back.
talk to y'all later. Subscribe, share it, keep the
Bye,
information
guys.
going.
Hey, family. Bye. Bye. Marquita and Kendall
Yeah, exactly. tell
and
Fred,
Bill,
tell
the
Fred
whole
the kids I
village.
said
Bye,
what's up.
family.
Exactly. Our family. Exactly. Thank you, y'all. I see everybody later on. Tune in Wednesday. We're gonna be chopping it up more on did we spoil our kids? Are we the problem for the way our kids are acting? I want to revisit that conversation. That's a good one. Anybody, I always say you're always welcome to chime in. Thank you, Gaylord. I appreciate that. This is Real Talk Chronicles. Yo, let's keep the word going, man. Spread the information. Spread the YouTube channel. If you're watching it from Facebook, share the link and just let people know what's going on. Let them know. Best information you can get. You got an hour with a doctor. You don't get that kind of time with your own primary. I know that. Everybody knows that. You go see your primary doctor. He looking at his watch as soon as you step in. Share the love, everybody. Talk to y'all later. Real talk. Force to the moment. Malika wants to say hi and bye. Oh, look at she coming on with the onion, y'all. Listeners, see this is the problem right here. You know I don't like that.
I came prepared.
yeah, definitely. It smell onion. Come on now, you put your come on, man. Hey, yo, you see Kendra, y'all started. She come up here with this onion, and I know what's gonna happen. Somebody gonna be on the couch. She had to do it. She had to do it.
It was hilarious.
Exactly. Yes, we do, Stefani. We got so much going on in the community. You know what I'm saying? Everybody saying hi.
Hi, everybody.
It's just onion and stuff.
Yeah, it's great.
And where'd you get that big ass onion from?
It's huge, right?
Where'd you get that from? We don't have that.
It's in the fridge.
It's not supposed to be in this house. I don't play that onion stuff.
It's good for stir fry and socks, right?
What's up, Yolanda? Hola. Tell hubby we said hi. Yeah, they laughing at you. She said, "Go, Malika. Samantha said, get your crusty feet on the table. Force to the moment. Yeah, well, exactly. We ain't forced in that moment. Exactly.
I know. I was like, oh, I hope I have one in here. It's just for you.
See, there's a lot of hee-haw jokes going on in this house.
It is. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night. Talk to y'all later. Bye. That onions, you know, you got a lot of nerve.